Hello and welcome. It's a bit hot out today, so we're making some homemade chocolate magic shell. That's that stuff that they dip ice cream cones into for your dipped cones. It can also be used for a few other things, which we will talk about. It's a super easy 2-ingredient recipe and can be either vegan or vegetarian depending on your choice of chocolate. So let's get to the ingredients. For this recipe, we only need a ratio of 2 parts chocolate to 1 part coconut fat. So for my bar here being 100 grams, I need 50 grams of coconut fat. I do this recipe by weight because I've found it's more consistent in the results and how hard or soft it is. Now, depending on what kind of chocolate you buy, if it's made with milk solids, then this would be a vegetarian thing. If, like mine here, it does not contain dairy, then you're going to have a vegan ice cream topping. But you'll want to check the label and the ingredients to make sure they are the right kind for your needs. Do not use Hershey's chocolate here, as its melting temperature is too low and it will not solidify properly. You can sub out the coconut fat for pretty much any other fat, but I find other types have either unwanted flavors, mostly unwanted flavors, or sometimes make it a little too runny for ice cream cones in my opinion. Coconut, on the other hand, just blends right in. As always, I'd like to thank you all for watching, and if you're not already subscribed, subscribe for more like this if you enjoy this video. And if you really want to help the channel grow, share this video with your friends or family. So, for our totally super hard recipe here, we just want to measure our coconut fat into a microwave safe dish, break the chocolate up a little bit like you see me doing here, and then we're going to melt it in the microwave. Once it's all broken up, we just want to microwave it on high for about 30 seconds, stir it, microwave it on high for another 15 seconds at a time, stirring between each one until the chocolate's fully melted. If your chocolate is noticeably warm to the touch, let it stand for about 5 to 10 minutes before coating anything. It'll coat even if it is warm, but it will end up being a really thin coating, so waiting a few minutes is the best for a nicer coverage on it. You can store leftovers of this in the refrigerator and just reheat it the same way you heat it up there for 30 seconds or 15 seconds at a time to get it back to liquid, so you can always kind of keep some on hand, and that way you can have some nice desserts like we're going to show here. Real quick note about ice cream and temperature. If you are having trouble scooping your ice cream while you're making this recipe, it's because it's too cold. You can move the ice cream to the refrigerator for about a few minutes to soften. Unfortunately, I can't tell you how long that's going to take because that depends on your refrigerator and your freezer temperature and the fat and air content of your ice cream. I've found it usually takes about 10 to 20 minutes before it reaches a point where it's easily scoopable. So, starting with the cone, we can coat it quite nice and easy for the most part. I'm just going to roll the cone in the bowl slowly and then cover any thin spots with a spoon, just drizzling it off a spoon for even more coating. I didn't let this cool quite enough, so my coating was fairly thin. One thing to note while you're coating things, especially ice cream, if someone has an allergy to dairy and you're doing a non-dairy ice cream for one person and regular for others, it's safer and just as easy to just spoon drip it over a separate bowl so you don't have any cross-contamination and somebody has an allergic reaction. So you'll more than likely need to double dip or touch up the cone with a spoon regardless of how you do this, just to get the nice even look, even if you let it cool enough though. I kind of like the patchy look around some of the edges, so I did leave a few bits here and there thin, just to show a little bit of color on the ice cream, while mostly having a nice even coverage. Oh yeah, if you want the drumstick effect of having that sort of chocolate down in the bottom end of the cone, you'll have to drip it in and then freeze it, otherwise it doesn't get quite cold enough to solidify in the bottom of the cone. So, what else can we coat? Pretty much anything that refrigerates or freezes well. The colder it is, the thicker your coating is. In my case, I had some strawberries and bananas on hand, so with the aid of some pretzels, we have some nice dessert of fresh fruit and chocolate. I tried both toothpicks and pretzels for the holding of the delivery devices, and found the pretzels were much better, but you cannot make them ahead of time if you use pretzels, because they tend to get soggy in the freezer after about 4 hours. The problem with the toothpicks and why I didn't like those was that, especially with frozen fruit, people were particularly prone to accidentally stabbing themselves because you have to really bite down on frozen fruit. Also, a warning about kids and frozen fruit. Frozen fruit will become very hard, and while cooling to a child is a very serious choking hazard. So if you have small children, what I would do is I would refrigerate the fruit, and then if you want a slightly thicker coating, just put it in the freezer for about 15 to 20 minutes, so only that very outside layer is frozen and the center is still soft. The bananas are actually kind of neat at refrigerator temperature since it becomes sort of a chocolate coating around almost a banana cream inside. Now let's swerve on back to ice cream for a moment. We have sundaes. You can actually use a spoon to drizzle it like these couple you see here in the pictures that we made this week while doing all the research for this. For sundaes, this type of topping is usually poured just a little bit before and after the other toppings. This lets you get a nice coverage and nice looks from your sundaes. So you get that sort of chocolate web underneath, and then there's more ice cream or whipped cream, and then there's more chocolate web on top. Do not mix this with hot fudge though, since if you do, it will literally never harden and it just makes this weird liquid cool chocolate pockets that sound way better than they actually are. I only had a few things on hand for toppings though. Had I had more options, things like crushed or chopped nuts, sprinkles, candy pieces, or as one of these did have, a little dusting of cinnamon on the whipped cream, all make for great additions. And with that, we have some vegan, in my case, chocolate shell for ice cream. This probably lasts about 3 months or so in the refrigerator, but I really have no idea because it never actually lasts that long in my refrigerator. This is one of those super simple recipes that seems like it should be harder than it is because nobody does this at home, and in this case, it's really easy, and it can make for a nice surprise. If you haven't people over and hand them a literal dipped ice cream cone, that's gonna surprise people. Like, wait, hold on, you dipped your own ice cream cone? Heck, it actually can make a nice communal dessert just by pre-freezing your fruit or pretzels, or on either pretzels or popsicle sticks if you want to go ahead of time, and just going to town on it like it's a fondue. So, again, thank you all for watching, and if you haven't already hit that subscribe button, do so for more like this, and have a great day and a great meal.